seemed a little dark there. Good morning, good people. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we are in southwestern Nevada. My name is Everett Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and other interested people on their journey through this life, based upon the belief that we have a soul. We are a soul with a body. I wouldn't say in a body. I would say a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. Which kind of reminds me, I heard a Tony Robbins little thing yesterday or a couple of days ago talking about, are you asking questions? Do you mainly see what you don't have or what you do have, and analyzing that? But it was kind of interesting at the end. He made a statement of, you are the you that does something else. And the question was, well, who are you in that? Yeah, like, well, who is you? So we start from the belief that we are made in the image of God, and God is spirit. What is that? That it would be pure energy, non-baryonic. If you want to get technical about it, it would be non-baryonic. No subatomic particles, no mass, no nothing, just pure spirit. God is spirit. We're made in the image of God. We are spirit. And here on this planet, this is the body that we have. This is the body that we have. And so when you talk about you, well, who is the you you're referring to? Is it the spirit? Is it the body? Is it the body and the spirit? But what if you don't see yourself as spirit? Anyway, kind of an interesting thing. We are here to help our students and other interested people on their journey through this life. And we do it through a 4-part transformational process program where we focus on 4 key things: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So like it's a table, a 4-legged table. And if each of those 4 legs are not solid, you will not have a solid existence. So if you are physically unhealthy, problems effectuating what you could possibly do. You're limited to what you're able to do if you have physical problems or fitness problems. You have a bad diet, that's going to lead to physical problems. Mental, if you just don't know a lot. Today's theme is IQ. And that's kind of the universal accepted measure right now for people for their mental abilities and capabilities. Emotional. If you're physically good, mentally good, but emotionally you're like this instead of like this. Well, instead of like this. Always moving forward. If you can't control your emotions control you. That is going to limit your ability to be effective. And then, of course, spiritual. The thing that it's all about. The thing that it's all about, the spiritual side. If you are lacking there, it's like, what's the purpose of all of the stuff that you're doing? What's the underlying basis of your existence? Okay, so we focus on those 4 things, helping people navigate through this world of other people who have different ideas in order to be as productive and efficient, etc., and fulfilled as possible. Boom. Okay, that's what we do. Long intro. Today's theme, once again, is IQ. It's essential. And you can look in that in many ways. We'll get to that in a second. That's a Jordan Peterson talk. Additionally, let's focus on advice from an 80-year-old. When someone hugs you, let them be the first to let go. Okay, good. Good advice. Okay, next. Darren Hardy. That was a good one today. The 3 Bs. We have them in our notes and our worksheet. The 3 Bs. I'm going to put that in red letter. Okay, 3 Bs. Be brief, be brilliant, be gone. When you're dealing with other people, be brief, be brilliant, be gone. Don't linger. Okay, this is really regarding a business context, not a personal context, but be brief, be brilliant, be gone. Okay, next. Seth Godin, haven't looked at it yet, don't really know. There's a good Daily Stoic is good. Jordan Peterson is regular one. I will do good. That's always a good one. This is a different version of I will do good. No matter what comes at me, no matter what obstacles I face, I will do good. I'm not going to return tit for tat. I'm not going to take advantage of other people. I will do good. That is my motivation. I will do good. And Jordan Peterson is very compelling on that. So let's talk about IQ. IQ. Let's see. Good morning, Atticus Von Atticus. Glad to see you there. Thank you for all of your assistance helping people yesterday evening. And yeah, boom. Thank you. Next. What is next? IQ. IQ. What is IQ? Well, as Jordan Peterson talks about, there's 2 parts, fluid and crystallized. Here's the way you can think about it to make it easy. Crystallized IQ is what you know. Think of like a bucket, and all of the stuff you know fills up the bucket. So however full your bucket is, that's your crystallized IQ. And let's imagine there's rings around the outside of the bucket at different heights, and these rings are labeled. And it could be labeled the SAT or LSAT or whatever the K through 12 national test is, or it can be labeled ASVAB or whatever. And what those rings and labels are is that's the amount of information you should know in order to do whatever it is. So for the LSAT, you need to really have an IQ of at least that level in order to be able to pass law school, to get through law school. It's accumulated knowledge. It's not your ability to learn, it's what you do know. You need to know a lot of stuff in order to go to law school or medical school or college. You need to know stuff. So it's not a value judgment. It's just a statement of accumulated knowledge. How full is the bucket? Now, we learned on Monday from Dr. Amen that your brain could be damaged. So that would be like putting little holes in the bucket, and some of the things that you knew get drained out, or they drain out of the bucket. And a Brain Smart program is designed to refill the bucket with the things that are coming out of the bucket. So, for example, if you're forgetting who people are, pictures and names and things like that. So Dr. Amen would have a Brain Smart program to have you relearn who those people are. Look at photos of the people throughout their life, or talk to them, or do whatever, but to relearn the stuff you're forgetting. Pretty simple, pretty basic, pretty obvious once you figure it out. And you could imagine you have a bucket that's leaking. You could also patch the bucket. But if you patch the bucket and you don't refill it with the stuff that's spilled out, you're going to have gaps. So the Brain Smart program is designed to figure out what is the problem with the brain so we can fix it. Like, let's say you have something growing on your brain, we can fix it, and we can relearn things that we knew before. Okay, pretty simple. That's crystallized knowledge. It's what you know. Jordan Peterson goes on to say that the Army will not accept anyone with an IQ of less than, I don't remember what it is, 87 or something. And then the question is, well, why won't they accept anybody with an IQ of under 87? And the answer is because they can't do anything in the Army without screwing it up. They don't have basic proficiency at doing things. And you'd ask the question, well, would the Army have an incentive to really want to understand IQ? And the answer is, yeah, they really would, because this is life and death situations, right? So if they find people that there's just nothing they can do with them, they can't even peel potatoes, they can't scrub the bathroom floor with a toothbrush, they can't fire a weapon, they don't want those people because they're going to cause more damage than they cause good. And so the Army, the military, has spent tremendous amounts of money understanding IQ because they want all of the people they can, and they don't want people who are not helpful. Okay, so that's crystallized IQ. It's what you know. Recognizing that everybody's bucket at some point starts leaking stuff, kind of like a Starbucks cup. It's really good for a couple of days, but you can't use it for a year or a month every day because it's not designed to do that, and it falls apart. Okay, same thing, crystallized IQ. The second one is fluid IQ. So think of the fluid IQ as the pump that fills the bucket. And you can have a good pump or a bad pump. You can have a pump that works efficiently or that it breaks down. But you can't get stuff into the bucket without the pump. The knowledge is all around, but you need to get it into your brain. Having knowledge outside of our brain is cool and interesting. We know that's going on all the time. The idea is to get it into the brain, where it's not just an input, or it's not just it's data, it's something of value. So fluid IQ. Now, Jordan Peterson also talks about a little bit about that if the fluid IQ stops working, the amount of information that goes in is greatly affected. And there are things that we can do in life to break or hinder the pump, the fluid IQ. So for people who find that, I just can't, I did it yesterday, I can't remember how to do it, forgetful, I'm this, I'm that, they're not getting the information into the bucket. So fluid IQ. And it kind of turns out that one of the things that really whacks fluid IQ is marijuana. And here's how it manifests itself. Kids in school, by the third grade, they start recognizing other kids, well, before third grade. Some kids are smarter and some kids are less smart. By the sixth grade, people start identifying as I'm smart or not smart. The ones who identify as not smart, right around the ninth grade, or it used to be this way, it's probably a lot sooner now, but certainly by the ninth grade, they give up. It's like, okay, I'm not smart, I'm not this, I'm not that. So what's the point of graduating? I don't need this information anyway. It's not that they don't need it, it's that they don't have the ability to learn. So it looks to them like it's very hard learning new stuff. And what's the point anyway? Whereas if your pump is really efficient, you've been going to school since kindergarten, wanting to get straight A's and going to school every day and getting praised when you get good report cards, you have a pump that works really well. You learn fast, you learn quick, and you become like a sponge for new knowledge. So when you're in the 9th grade, it's like, wow, I want to take all AP classes. They're not the ones smoking marijuana, taking drugs. The other ones are the ones smoking marijuana, taking drugs. So now, what if you have somebody that is born with this really great pump? It's the most incredible pump. It's the same kind of pump that Sir Isaac Newton had, for example. Just incredible ability to learn. But then they also, for other reasons, started smoking marijuana. What happens? Well, they're never going to be Isaac Newton, but they'll probably be better than the people they hang out with. And that's the other problem. So let's talk about practical stuff of IQ. So we used to give everybody the Wonderlic test, which Jordan Peterson talks about, and that's why we did. And before people take the exam, everybody thinks they're a genius. A large number of people coming out of prison or jail or having a hard life, will say things like, yeah, I was tested when I was some young age, before the age of 10. And I'm a genius. I was tested at that age. I'm a genius. I'm really smart. School just isn't smart enough for me. So I was bored. I was bored with school. So I didn't finish. So they have this view of I'm smart. Everyone else is dumber. And the school system let me down because I got bored with it because it didn't challenge me. Now, people who go to Stanford don't say things like that, but people who go to prison do. So before we give people the Wonderlic test, people are saying, I'm the smartest person I know. I'm really smart. Yeah, I might not know a lot of stuff that those square people learned in high school, but they don't know what my life was like, et cetera, et cetera. Then we give them the test, and then they find out how smart they are not. And I'm talking devastation. 50 questions in 12 minutes. We stopped giving people the test because the impact was too severe too soon. That the people we have, people tend to hang out with people dumber than themselves, not smarter than themselves. Smart people try to find people smarter than themselves so they can learn, because that's their disposition. I want to meet people. I want to see what I can learn today. Who can I bring in this, that has information that I don't have that I want to know? And their disposition is to learn. People who think they're smart tend to hang out with people, the same kind of people, but they're not as smart as they are. So they tend to think, hey, I'm smart. But you get them in a room with really smart people, like, let's say, Stanford professors, and you're talking about things that Stanford professors talk about, they have no clue of what's going on. No clue. Now, sure, they can change the conversation with Stanford professors to something they know. And Stanford professors, because they have a disposition of wanting to learn, are going to be very interested. That's going to make the person who has a low IQ think they have a high IQ, because they're teaching Stanford professors things that they don't know. So they're deceiving themselves into thinking they're smart because university professors find them interesting. They find them interesting because they have knowledge, not because they have wisdom. And so that's a trap people fall into in prison, is you hang out with people who have an IQ lower than you, and you tend to think that your IQ is higher. And that is confirmed because when you get around people with a high IQ, they find you interesting because they have a disposition of learning. They find you interesting, not equal. Not equal at all. Interesting. But the person who doesn't have the high IQ, the people, average people with 100 IQ, think because somebody with a 140 IQ finds them interesting, they think they're like this. So that's why we don't give the Wonderlic test anymore. Because we're not really in a position to try to change people on that fundamental level. We're just trying to educate people, give people a good enough education that they can find employment that's stable, meaningful, and at a livable wage. That's all we're trying to do, is help people get from subsistence level, scarcity, etc., to being productive members of society, having a stable life with meaning and purpose. And that was a bridge too far for us. So I apologize for the length of this. IQ, vital. Know what your IQ is. To sum it up, the Jordan Peterson thing. Know your IQ. Every job has an IQ range. You have to have an IQ at least to this, but if it's over this, it's not good. And you want to be at the 75th percentile. So the job is still challenging. It's not boring. It's still challenging enough that you can master it. If your IQ is down here, the job is really, really hard. You go home from work very frustrated all the time. If your IQ is here, let's say here, what you're going to feel is it's boring. Boring. I never learn anything new. Yeah, not fulfilling. And so that's why employers will often not hire somebody because you're too smart for the job. Meaning you're going to find this, you could do the job, but you're going to find it boring. And it's actually going to be counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. Because if your IQ is actually over, it's up here, you're going to think of ways to improve the output, improve the job. But that's going to require people with higher IQs. So it's not going to be good for our employees. So people who don't get hired because you're overqualified for this job, it's probably true, because you'll find it boring and you won't really be a good employee. IQ is essential. My one bit of unsolicited advice would be have an attitude of every time you meet new people, figure out what is their IQ, crystallized, and their flow. What is their ability to learn? Because you might find people with a lot of crystallized knowledge, but they can't learn new stuff. Focus on the old. If you run across the rare example of somebody who has an intact pump that likes learning, grapple onto that person like bands of steel on a barrel, to quote Polonius or Laertes. If that's how you are, find a person that's like that. Very rare to find somebody that has a good fluid IQ. Kids, huge pumps not broken, absorbing knowledge, information all the time. And as they get older, that pump doesn't get maintained properly. It breaks down. It's not as efficient. So the bucket doesn't get filled properly, etc. So school was torture chamber for me. Right. And that's because of specific reasons, Matt. But this is the longest podcast in history. My apologies. It's a very important subject. It's vital to being able to get employment that's stable, meaningful, and at a livable wage. IQ is essential. And I will say, and cut.